Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning, happy Friday. Today is November 12th, Friday. I'm gonna go ahead and set up the room real quick and then we can get started. So it's 6:19 right now. We have about 11 minutes till market open. So we do have some time to go over things and see what to expect in the market today. Today's Friday, so obviously it's gonna be risky. There's a lot of other factors in the market as well that are going to affect the conditions. So we'll go over that shortly, and then after that, we can start analyzing for possible entries. So let me just go and send out this link here to you guys here in the premium. Sent over right there. All right, solid for the most part. It's good. All right, cool. Link is sent out, so everyone should be making their way in right now. As people make their way in, we will start looking for signs of direction. So continue letting people into the room real quick. Once everyone's in the room, we can get started. All right, cool. So I'll give it a few minutes, guys, for everyone to make their way in. Once everyone's in the room, we can start looking at the market to see what our bias is for the day. All right, so let's see. All right, cool. People are making their way in right now. All right, guys. So good morning. Happy Friday. Today is November 12th. Hopefully you guys had a great week so far, trading wise, and just in general. I had a pretty good week so far. I mean, not really anything bad. I mean, I didn't trade as much as I normally do, but didn't really suffer any losses. So it's been, pretty solid. Jennifer said, good morning. Should I leave mics on for fun? Maybe. Morning, Mauricio. Morning, Peter. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Jennifer. Morning, Christopher. Morning, everybody. So hopefully you guys had a great week so far, just like I mentioned. Good morning, Orain. Morning, everyone. Today's Friday. There's a lot of things going on today. For one, today's Friday. So, usually Friday is one of the riskiest days to trade. You see a lot of manipulation on Friday because a lot of people are exiting the market for the weekend. So you'll see price spike up or price spike down in a lot of instances where you're just not, there's really no explanation to it for it to be spiking around in some instances, like as people start to pull out, because sometimes you'll see price like spike down because people are selling off and then it just goes sideways. And then all of a sudden you see it spike back up because people buy the dip. Because there's some people who want to buy the dip and they just hold it long term. And there's some people who don't like trading over the weekend, like myself, and they sell off at a certain time, like closer to the end of the session. Also, this morning, we have some news. We have the JOLTS job opening. So basically, at 7 o'clock, they're going to release the number of jobs that are available here in the US. That's a big thing because that's going to affect the economy, right? If there's a lot of jobs available, that means that the economy technically is doing better. But what happened was the JOLTS jobs openings happened like when the stimulus stopped here in the US. And when they did that, people just weren't taking jobs, right? Because people are so used to just getting stimulus and not doing anything and basically making more money to not do anything and receiving like stimulus from the government. So like there was a ton of jobs available, nobody took them. So looking at the forecast right now, it looks like it's going to be less than it was previously, which was 10.44 mil. Now it's going to be 10.02 mil. So, I mean, it just depends. This can mean one of two things. This can be either a lot of people took the jobs that were available last month and they, obviously the economy is doing better, or it can just be that other places are just not hiring because if you guys remember, there's a lot of COVID mandates going on now here in the US where they require employees with a certain amount of employees, employers with a certain amount of employees, about like, under 100 plus employees, that require vaccination. So there's some places that are just not hiring anymore because of that. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of factors. So you guys just want to make sure that you want to be very cautious when trading today, because we have the JOLTS job openings. This is probably going to spike price or spike price. It's going to spike price up or down. And then after that, we have prelim UOM consumer sentiment. And then again, later we have Fed member Williams speaking. And then after that, we have a tentative Treasury currency report. So we had a lot of stuff going on today, guys, for a Friday. For one, it's Friday, makes it risky already as is. Two, we have news coming up at 7 in about 30 minutes, 2 news events. And then later today, we have the Fed speaking at 9. So in general, those are like a lot of things that are going to cause a lot of unpredictability in the market. Also, yesterday was a holiday. If you guys remembered, yesterday was Veterans Day. So that's going to affect the market as well, because the banks were closed yesterday. The banks are now open, so they're re-entering the market, and they're probably going to push price one way or the other. So you guys want to keep that in mind. Morning, Al. Morning, David. Morning, Fahad. Morning, everybody. So it looks like everyone's almost in the room, which is good. We can get started with our analysis. But just a fair warning to you guys that today's going to be pretty risky day trading. So if you guys don't need to trade, I would recommend just to sit the market out. However, if you guys want to trade, be careful. Always move your stop loss and profit when you can, and use a smaller lot size if you're just nervous, right? If you don't feel comfortable about a position, then don't take it. Or if you're in a position and you start to get worried, then that might be, a hint to move your stop loss and profit or to pull out. Because, last thing you want to do is be stressed out on a Friday, go into the weekend in a bad mood, right? If you had a great week so far, close out this week strong and go into the weekend in a good mood, right? You don't want to go into the weekend being mad at yourself because you took a trade that you shouldn't have taken. That's happened to a lot of people, including myself, where I've had a great week and then I lose everything on Friday. We've seen that happen to so many people. It doesn't happen to me anymore. It hasn't happened to me in years, thankfully. So, I just understand the risk of trading on Friday. So something that you guys definitely do want to keep in mind if you guys do decide to trade today, or if you guys just want to trade but don't want to risk anything, like trade on a demo account, right? There's no problem with that. I know you guys get FOMO sometimes. I do too. It doesn't go away. You just get better at it. So let's check the charts out real quick. Looking at the IG sentiment, currently the market is 58% short. So there's not really a strong bias here at all with regard to retail sentiment. Looking at the futures data, we'll refresh this. It's currently 129 points in the green. So it's very bullish right now. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens, and also what happens when the JOLTS job openings news is released as well. So also looking over here at technicals. So looking at the technicals right now, currently price is indecisive. Reason for that is because price is just bouncing around where the pivots are. The trend meter is blue, so meaning that there's no clear trend. Looking at the 3-minute over here, currently price is bullish, and the reason for that is because price is above the pivots and the trend meter is green. Lastly, looking on the 10-minute over here, the 10-minute is currently bullish as well, and the reason for that is because price is above the pivots and the trend meter is green. So looking at everything here so far, for the most part, looks very bullish to us, right? There's no clear direction on the 1 minute, but it looks like it's going to swing back up, with time. Market is opening in about 3 minutes. When the market does open, we can determine which direction to be trading in. Looking over here, let's see how far did this drop yesterday. So technically, guys, if you guys took the daily entry yesterday, you guys can see that it's still running. I didn't take it yesterday, obviously, and I recommended that it was going to be a bit risky. But if you guys took it yesterday, you're technically still in the trade. So I don't know who took it, but if you held on to it, it came right back into profit. So you're now in profit. It wasn't some massive drawdown, but it came right back up. This is why I haven't been taking the daily lately, because volatility and direction hasn't really been very clear. As you guys can see, market didn't really move much from yesterday till today. It's been really slow. For one, it was a holiday, and market is starting to swing back to the upside. And also, I mean, there just is no clear direction. So this is the daily from yesterday. If you guys remember correctly, it's still running. And this is why it's called the daily entry, because you're holding this for a long time. It doesn't happen to close within a few minutes. Sometimes it will, but majority of the time it doesn't. You'll be holding on to this for over 24 hours if you took this. So if you took this yesterday, you're technically holding on to it currently for about 22 hours. It's about a full 24 hours shortly. And I just don't like taking trades like that, especially not in these kind of market conditions where there's no clear direction, and where a lot can happen. So yeah, this thing is just going excited. So I'll keep this open right here for today. But yeah, if you guys can see right there, it hasn't really moved too much. The daily entry is still currently running. So let me check over here real quick. Morning, Delmas. Morning, Matt. Morning, Maria. Morning, David. Dejan said if Walt Disney drops again, it's because the movies that they're announcing for Disney Plus are ass cheeks. Yeah, Dejan, know for sure. So yeah, I'm not really familiar with like Disney or like whatever movies are coming out, but I kind of do agree with Dejan. That was what I was talking. Good movies for Disney. So I'm not surprised that the subscription base hasn't gone up. You know, it's getting close to the holidays, so you expect them to come out with some good stuff. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not even a huge Disney fan, but even I know that. So no, thanks for the input, Dejan. I know Dejan actually knows what's going on with them. So that's good that we have people like that in the group. So the market is now open, guys. Let's go back to the 1 minute. Market just opened. As you can see, price is starting to drop right here. This technically would be the breakout. If you guys want to take the breakout, if this closes as a strong red candle, this would be the breakout. If it closes with a strong green candle and it's buy signal, then that would be the breakout in that direction. So we'll follow it along. We'll see what goes on here. Let me check out the fundamentals real quick, see where the market is currently sitting. I'll refresh this. It's currently 130 points in the green. It's we have breaking news. Elon Musk sells another 687 million in Tesla stock. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, this is going to dump. Okay, so Tesla is down 12 points right now. So he's dumping price. He's just offloading his stock right now. Going on retail sentiment, it's currently 58% short. So no real bias right now for the retail sentiment, but the bias for fundamentals are currently bullish. It's up 130 points right now, 134. So we're looking for buys here. Obviously, you guys can see that this is being manipulated, right? There's no reason this should be dropping when the stock index is super high. Let's refresh this right here. As you guys can see, majority of these stocks here are green, right? They're very green. The red stocks right here aren't even down by 1 point. Everything is like net less than 1 point. So there's no reason for it to be dumping like this. However, that's how you can tell you shouldn't be trading right now, right? I tried to warn you guys in the beginning that today was going to be risky and there's probably going to be a lot of manipulation. There's a manipulation I just referred to. So if you guys were sitting in on this session and listened to my analysis prior, we already anticipated this to happen, right? So we'll see what happens in the next few minutes. That's fine. I want it to drop like that because if it's dropping like that, then we can probably catch the dip as it swings up. But you can see right here, the numbers just changed heavily, right? At first, it was dropping for no reason. Now the fundamentals have changed. So the fundamentals were like basically 130 points in the green. Now it's 72 points in the green. So now it can be shifting to the downside. At this point, we'll see what happens. I think what's going to be key here is going to be, I can't tell if I'm seeing stuff or if this is like, this looks like it's green to me up here. Do I have anything on my chart? I don't have anything on my chart right now. That's weird. I might be seeing stuff. My screen looks green here for some reason. Here, let me go ahead and just draw some stuff here. So I'm going to go draw the lines from market open 6:30 to 8. My screen is just fuzzy for some reason. All right, 8 to 10. All right, so as you can see, price is starting to swing right back up, right? It's exactly what we were anticipating. I mentioned that price is probably going to spike down and then swing back up because that was a manipulated move to the downside. So as you can see, price is starting to swing back up. Market is way too volatile right now. So I'm not going to take any of these trades. Even if this closes as a buy, I'm not going to take it because this is way too big of a push. You can see this big push from here up to here. It's about almost 500 pips. It's well over 400. And if it does close above there, it's probably going to pull back a little bit before it continues pushing up. But you can see price is coming back to where price originally opened, right? So market opened right here at 6:30. You can see that this was the opening price. Do you guys remember what I showed you guys yesterday? And I've been showing you guys pretty much every day now. I mentioned that price generally, if it drops like this and it's a manipulated move, it usually comes right back up to where price originally was. And when price reaches this point, which it is at, price will do one of two things. It'll either continue pushing up or it'll drop right back down, right? So it's the same analysis, same thing playing out that we look at almost every single morning. And you can see price broke above it, and look what's happening now. Now we just wait. We wait for that confirmation. We see where price goes, where price decides to push to, and then we can make our decision from there. But currently right now, there's the high and there's the low. So there's a range right now for that. We'll put the strategies up right here for whoever is looking to take these. And this week has been super messy Wednesday through Friday. Monday, Tuesday was okay. And then it just got really nasty between Wednesday until now. And you can see prices just bouncing back and forth, right? This is exactly what we were anticipating. We were anticipating price to be very choppy, very indecisive, just spiking back and forth. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, Kenny said your chart does look green. Thanks, Kenny. I thought I was just seeing things. I don't know what was up with it, but thanks for confirming, because I was tripping out for a second there. Let me go ahead and just put some of the requirements here for these strategies, the 3-minute daily and the 3-minute pivot scalp. Mark this up for 6:30. We got the 10-minute snipe over here. See if there's any, actually a lot right here. All right. It's drawing up the zones right here, so we know what we're looking at. All right. So we got those zones right there drawn. Let's see. Over here for the daily, nothing there right now. Okay, so going back to the 1 minute over here, price broke below here, so this is now the new low, but it's still pending, so it's not necessarily established yet. But as you guys can see, price is just bouncing around this area. Price came up, tested that area, and it came right back down, right? Same pattern that we've been looking at. There's no clear direction in the market. Looking over at the fundamentals right now, I'll refresh this. It's still at positive 87. So as you guys can see, it really doesn't make sense, right? Why it's dropping like that. It might just swing back up because the fundamentals are still green. So as you can see, as I've been explaining almost every day, the fundamentals are usually leading and price follows on the technical side with regard to the charts. So looking at current price right now, you can see how erratic it is, right? Price is still dropping, but the you can see here that the fundamentals are still pretty green. They're not very strong, above 100 points, but they're still very green, right? So there's no reason for it to be dumping like that super heavily. So over here, it says Dow gains nearly 100 points, but heads for losing week. So we'll see what happens here. If this confirms, then generally what happens is CNBC releases news a little late. So even though it says updated moments ago, when they release something like this, a lot of people bandwagon into those sells. And then what happens when people do that, right? Price goes all the way back up. So I never follow news for what they repost, but usually what happens is the opposite. So they right here, they have bad news for Dow, right? It says Dow gains nearly 100 points, but heads for losing week. And then price just comes right back up. So I would be careful at this moment, waiting for a clear direction, because you don't want to be trading in a market like this where price just keeps going back and forth. You want to be trading when price is going directional to the upside or directional to the downside. Because you're basically gambling at this point, guys. If you guys are entering a buy, you can see this. If you're chasing these moves and you enter a buy and it pulls back, you get stopped out. When it drops, you enter a sell and it pushes back up, you get stopped out again, right? So there's really no reason for you guys to be chasing these moves until it chooses its direction. Because right now, obviously, it's not. I mean, it's not good at all if you guys just look at the market. So here we go. This makes it a little easier to look at. But as you guys can see, there's no clear direction at all. This thing is just going back and forth, back and forth. So we're just gonna wait. Let's see. this low hasn't even been established yet because this what low is right here. It's only been 1-2 candles. There needs to be 4 or 5 candles for it to be established. This high though has been established. So if price ends up pushing above here and closes, then that would be a high-low scalp for a buy. And that's something that I would probably take. This low here hasn't been established yet. So until that's established, we're not really looking for any sells. I'm also not looking for any sells in particular because the fundamentals here are still around 80 points in the green. So looking at the stock index over here, I'll refresh this. Stock index as well is very green, right? The red stocks here are not even 1 point. Goldman Sachs is down negative 0.93. Honeywell is down 0.85. Goldman Sachs is down 1 point, but it's not very much because looking at the green stocks here, we have Boeing up 2.56, Visa up 2.43, Johnson & Johnson up 2.46. So basically, you know, these 3 stocks right here can just overpower all of these red stocks because they're not even down by 1 point. These are way more stronger than these. So with that said, you know, we would probably just expect it to swing back up at some point. So let's see, let me refresh this real quick. I can see price coming back up. So what do you think this number is going to be? Do you think it's going to be higher or lower? I think it's going to be higher. So it's 79 points in the green right now. Let me refresh it. I think it's going to be above 80 points. So we refreshed it. It's now above 97 points, right? Let me pull up the charts. Price is going back up. So as you guys can see, the fundamentals are going to be leading, guys. So if the fundamentals are still green, I think price is going to swing back up. So it's just, you know, it's a matter of being patient and just waiting for that. My key entry right here is going to be when price closes above here. When it closes above here, then I'm going to be so set to take that buy. So yeah, it's just a matter of time, guys. I'm just going to be waiting for that. Once we get it, then I'll take the trade, but you can see price is now pulling back. So there's just, I mean, there's no clear direction. Obviously, price is rejecting off the Asia high right here, which is normal. You know what happens, price comes up, test the Asia high, bounce right back down. So no surprise there for it to be bouncing off that. However, I'm just waiting for that move for it to push to the upside. If it closes above here, I know it's going to be a 1 minute pivot scalp, but I'm still not going to take that trade because it's still going to be within this range. I want price to break out of this range right here because it's just going sideways. I want it to break outside of it. When it breaks outside of it, then I'll take a trade. However, right now, it's not a good time to trade because price is just ranging. Last thing you want to do is enter a buy when price closes up here and then price pulling back down, right? That's something that you guys want to be very, very careful of. All right, let's see. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else for me to look at here. If you guys have questions, you know, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be looking for these specific entries here. All right, we got a pending entry here, or a pending signal for the 3 minute for a buy. That's pending, candle just opened, so nothing available for that just yet, but there probably will be in due time. So it's just a matter of us waiting for it. Going over here to the 10 minute. Yeah, nothing really available right here. Let's see how big was this red candle right here. It's a fat red candle. So yeah, I mean, technically on this right here, there's a snipe that was available, but I wouldn't have taken it because this happened on market open. I'm just going to mark it up to show you guys that it's still technically running for whoever caught it pre-market. However, I for sure wouldn't have taken it because I don't take any trades on open right here. You know, I wait for it. But yeah, technically there was one that's still running there, but it's not one that I would have recommended or one that I would have taken myself because it's just too close to market open. It was at 620 market opened right here in between. And you can see the spike down due to that. The last entry for the snipe entry would have been down here. So as you can see right here, we have rejections off the pivots and off the structure. So we have one entry there, one entry there. So there's 2 entries right here for a buy. If you took either of them, they both would have hit full TP already. So that first one right there, the signal candle, we have a rejection off the pivot and structure, full TP. The one after right here, rejection off the pivot and structure, full TP right there as well. So whoever took those trades, you know, great work, but I didn't take those trades. This happened last night during London session at 2 a.m. So I wasn't even awake when they happened. But for you guys who trade London, those are the 2 most recent entries off the snipe strategy. Going back to the 3 minute, nothing here. Going back to the 1 minute, nothing here either. So still waiting for this to choose its direction. Still no direction at this time. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it at this moment. We're just pretty much waiting for it to confirm. But I mean, there's no entries that are available in either way. I know there's a sell entry right here if you guys were to take this this 1 minute scalp over here, but obviously it's not a trade that I would take. You can see that we have a sell signal here. It closed below the pivots, but it's not one that I would take at this moment because the fundamentals are green. So fundamentals are currently 89 points in the green. They're not very strong, but they are bullish. So with it being bullish, I'm not going to be taking these sells at this moment. I'm only looking for buys. Kenner just had a 10-minute K2 pivot rejection. Let's see, that candle's still running right now, Kenner. So I don't think it's available just yet. Yeah, no, definitely. So let me go back to the 10-minute over here. Yeah, so this was a pivot rejection right here, but in order to take this trade, you would need to have a rejection off the structure too. So for requirement number 1, confirm wick rejection off any pivot. Right here, you were correct in identifying that. We had a rejection off this pivot. However, there's no rejection off the K2SR zone. So right here, no entry available. If this candle right here closes, so this one right here, if this closes, then you get the rejection from here, and you also get the rejection off the structure. So you're correct in identifying that as well. Depending on which one you're looking at, it could have been this one or this one. If you're looking at this current candle, this would be a rejection for the first requirement. Second requirement, this would also be a rejection off the K2SR zone. For the third requirement, you want to confirm that the wick rejection off the pivot doesn't touch the candle body. So the pivots are up here, the body's down here. If this closes below here, then this would qualify as the third requirement. The last requirement, you just want to confirm that price is moving the direction of momentum. So in order for you to take the sell here, you would need this candle to close with the sell signal. If it doesn't close with the sell signal, then there's not going to be an entry. However, if it does, then you can take that for a sell using the snipe strategy. So yeah, you're definitely seeing things correct, Kenner. It's just a matter of waiting for that confirmation. This candle still has about 3 minutes in it left, so it's got a while to go. But when it does close, that's the things that you should be looking for. Anyways, going back to the 1 minute over here. So as you guys can see, this previous low was touched right here, but price didn't close below it. So with that said, this is now the new low right there. So the range is just extending even further. You can see right here that this range also extended right here. So with that said, price is now moving along the way. The range is getting tighter, which is a good thing. However, there just isn't any direction set yet still. Let's see, this candle established the high there. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. If we get 2 more candles, then this would be established as the high. And I'll still be looking for price to swing up to the upside and close above here for me to take this entry for a buy there. However, at the specific moment, it's nothing available. All right. All right, guys, here comes the waiting game. Literally just waiting for this. And we have the JOLTS job openings coming up in about 13 minutes, guys. So I don't plan on taking any trades at this moment anyways, because the news is coming up shortly. If there's something comes up like right now, then yeah, I would take it. But once it gets close to like 7, probably no entry for me. It just becomes a lot more riskier because we do have the news coming up in a few minutes. And it's going to be high impact. I know it says medium impact, but the JOLTS job openings is definitely going to affect the market. It's gonna confirm how healthy our economy is doing, and business wise, who's hiring, how many people are hiring, stuff like that. So it's coming up in 12 minutes, guys. And that's going to be a good thing because when that happens, I'm assuming the news is going to have a good effect on the market. So with the JOLTS job openings, if it has a good effect on the market, which could you expect? Prices skyrocket to the upside. And the reason I'm expecting that is because the fundamentals are already bullish, right? They're already up 100 points. So with it being up 100 points, that plus good news, it's like almost, a guarantee it's going to spike up unless market becomes manipulated, which obviously can happen as well. because if there's too many people on one side, then obviously they're going to spike price down and then they'll spike it up. So you guys don't want to be just like gambling in the market. You guys want to wait for the confirmation for it to move in that direction, then you guys want to take it. Also, you guys don't want to chase the move as well. When I say confirmation, I don't mean just because it spikes up, enter a buy. I mean, wait for it to push up, let it come back for a little retracement, and then catch it as it continues back up, right? That's what I mean by confirmation, not just wait for it to push up and then bandwagon on that ride and then end up getting stopped out as it pulls back, because that's probably what's going to happen. You know, it's a game of patience, guys. It's really a game of patience. That's how you guys, you know, really master your skill of trading. Because we have strategies here that work. You guys obviously know that we have strategies that work. The next key for that is to manage your risk and to know how to, you know, knowing when to apply it, which is when you have a lot of confluences. Looking at current price right here, you can see that price broke this structure right here, or it broke this low, and it didn't confirm it as the recent low, because you can see this candle right here happen. There's 1, 2, 3. This is the fourth candle. So as you can see, this is no longer the low. This is now the pending low right here. So the range is still moving. It's still going sideways. However, no entries have been established yet. It's really hot today in California. It's so weird. I think we're having a heat wave here. It's crazy. Let's see. Maddie said 58 to 59% short, slowly increasing. So that's perfect. Rick said Y5 candles, not say 3. Go back and like see what happens when you see 3 red candles, Rick. It's not. It's gonna. You'll know why. You know, this is from testing, Rick. We've been testing this for months. So that's how I got the number. If you want to go and figure it out too, you can go back and look, and you'll know exactly why. You'll see that there's no low that's been established. If you go back and just see how many times, like right here, how many times would you, if you would have established this as 3 candles, right? So looking at this here, 1, 2, 3, right? And then if you establish that as a low and you enter to sell there, look at what happened to Rick's account blown. Again, right here, if you counted this as 3 candles, 1, 2, 3, and you figure that this would have broken the third, what happens to your account again? Account blown. So Rick, the reason why I don't use 3, and I'm joking with you, Rick, obviously I'm joking with you. I'm using 5 because I've tested this, and 5 is the key number here. It's not 3. If it was 3, then that would have been the number to begin with. But you know, we've been testing this for how long now, and I've identified that 3 doesn't work. So that's why we use 5, and that's why it does work, because I've done the testing. So you know, and that's a good question. And even though I'm joking around with Rick, if that's a question that you guys have, what you guys can do is just go back test it yourself, right? Figure out what's the key there. Look at the swings. You know, turn off these, and then go back, go back and see where the swing is, and then see if you go for 3 candles. So like 1, 2, 3, if this broke above it and it did the opposite, then you know that wouldn't have been a good number to count as the high there. So Rick said, no, I know you're joking. Vaccine makes people more sarcastic. No, but no, you know, being realistically, Rick, you know, my response to you is that I've done the testing, and I know that 3 candles don't work. That's why it's 4 to 5. 5 would be better, but 4 does the job as well. So, and I'm just messing around. So guys, you know, I'm messing with Rick here. You know, if you guys have been around in the group, you guys know who Rick is. Like, I mean, Rick messes with me. I mess with Rick all the time. We're just being sarcastic, and it's Friday, guys. So like, liven up a little bit for Friday, because the market sucks. So, you know, if you guys are going to sit on this live session, you might as well have fun with it. Okay, so this is not the high anymore. This is now the high, because it's established as a new one. And then we have the news coming up in about 7 minutes. So, and you can see prices just pushing lower and lower as we see it go. So unfortunately, right here, we had this low established, 1, 2, 3, 4. It broke past it. This is now the new low down here, because it just keeps pushing lower and lower. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that it keeps pushing lower and lower like this, because if it didn't, like say, for example, we had a low that was established at this point. Say like this didn't happen where it spiked below and touched it. This would have been a great entry, because if we just ignored this one and candle right here broke below it, that would have been a cool little profit right there, right? But it is what it is. And, you know, the strategies are in place for a reason. So even though it is a risky trade and would have been nice, I'm still going to stick to the strategy and stick to the plan. So anyways, going back to what I was just going over. News is coming up in about 7 minutes. Let's go back to the fundamentals over here, refresh this. It's 60 points in the green, so looking at that there, we're probably going to expect it to go along sideways. Yeah, like what Maddie mentioned earlier, he mentioned that the retail sentiment is going up, which is perfect. This is exactly what I want to happen. It's 60% short now. So they're loading up sells right now. You can see a lot of people are hopping into these sells. And what Vapid over here, so I think Vapid asked as well, do you think they're lowering sellers? I think so. That's exactly what they're doing. Just like what Maddie said over here, stacking up sellers. So with a lot of sellers entering the market, you can expect a bigger push to the upside, because I can already see what's happening here. Like, people are looking at the news right here and they can see that the forecast is negative, right? They're forecasting it to be negative, which is great because a lot of people are betting on the market right now. They're betting that price is going to spike down because they think the news event is going to be negative. But what I see right here is prices getting close to this London low. See, a lot of people don't see this line here because they don't have the K2 indicator. They don't realize that the London low is coming very close. So price can keep dropping as far as it wants to. And then when the news happens, it'll probably just spike back up to stop all those people out, right? Because say, for example, if you entered a sell right here, where would your stop loss be? Your stop loss would be right above here, right? So I can see the spike up right here. If it spikes up higher and it triggers everyone's stop losses, I can see price go even higher. So I would consider this a liquidity zone at this point. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to draw this as a liquidity zone, because this is practically where everyone's having their stop losses, right? If you entered a sell right here, your stop loss is going to be right there, 500 pips. So let's see what happens, guys. I think if price reaches this point right here, you're probably going to see it push up even higher. So let's see what happens here. You see a lot of these people are getting stopped out already. Yeah, and they're getting screwed right now. So this is why you don't chase the moves like that. You chase the move for a sell and you get burnt. Looking at the fundamentals, they're still green, so there's no reason for us to enter sells anyways. There's no way I would enter a sell at this point. Nice. Rick bought the dip. So he saw it coming just like I was anticipating as well. I would still be careful, even though like you can see it coming up. I would wait for the news event to happen first, because what might happen first is a fake out. You'll probably see price drop a little bit when the news comes out so that more people enter the sells, and then all of a sudden it just spikes all the way back up, right? That could happen. So that's why I'm not entering any trades right now. I mean, news is coming up in about 4 minutes, so we'll see what happens here. But yeah, you can see that nice rejection to the upside right there. I'm going to watch it. See what happens. Market is, or the news event is coming out in about 3 minutes, guys. So 3 minutes till it's released. I'll just make this a little smaller. It's kind of too big. All right. All right, guys, here we go. Three minutes till news event. Rick said he talked me out of it, made 242. So you made profit there at least, Rick. That's good. At least you made some profit. And that's the smart move, because you don't want to trade during news, especially not a news event like this, Jolts. Jolts is going to affect the market because it's going to really lure people into a direction. So it's coming up in about 1:40 seconds. I'm kind of excited to see what happens here. Even though I'm not in a position, I'm still kind of excited because I know a lot of people are in to sell. So if it spikes up, a lot of people are going to get stopped out. So that's what I'm kind of excited about. And it's kind of messed up because I'm kind of waiting for people to get stopped out of their positions. But this is the key of being patient, just waiting out of the market. We'll see. I'm not in the market right now. Hopefully you guys aren't in the market either. But the fundamentals are bullish. News events coming out in about a minute. Man, This is going to be kind of, it's like you're going to see either a lot of people get their accounts blown or a lot of people get stopped out. like depending on where their stop loss is. Because I already know what happens. Like you guys know what happens, right? When you see news happens and you'll see price get close to your stop loss, you always move your stop loss higher or you just take your stop loss off. That's usually the worst decision to make because price can just keep going that direction and then your account just ends up getting blown because you get margin called out. And I've seen a lot of people like that. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. All right, news is coming up in about 30 seconds, guys. So in about 30 seconds, let's see what happens here. I'm expecting the bullish push. It might not be immediate, but it's going to happen eventually. I think by the end of today, we're going to have a bullish push, depending on the news as well. So it might drop down a little bit, test the London low, and spike back up. But see, news is coming up in about 10 seconds. So they might be stacking up more sellers, which is completely fine. All right, there we go. As price drops, news event just came out. Let's see what it looks like. Refresh that. Looks negative for prelim UOM. Jolts didn't come out yet. You can see price still dropping right here. Man, this thing's taking forever for it to come out. All right, so no update on it yet. Still nothing. Price came down, retested. This is now the new low. Let's see. Yeah, the jolts didn't come out. Refresh that. So it's positive. All right, so that was exactly what we were anticipating, right? I anticipated it to be positive, even though people were thinking that it was going to be negative. But not really much of a movement. So like right here, there wasn't really much of a movement. I think they're still trying to stack in some more sellers. So what I'm thinking is a lot of people are waiting for what we're waiting for as well. They're waiting for that confirmation push to the upside before they hop in. It seems like a lot of people are being cautious today because generally when a news event like that happens, usually you see a push of price either to the upside or to the downside. There wasn't really much of a push right here because it seems like a lot of people are being very cautious for the same reason we are. For one, it's Friday. For two, it's a day after a holiday. So a lot of people are just they're not inclined to take that risk at this moment, which is fine. Eventually, I do think it's going to swing back up though. So something to keep in mind. So news was positive. Fundamentals here are positive. Retail sentiment is still short, but it didn't really move that much. So I think they're probably to give it some time before they push price in that direction. Going over here to our open chart, you can see at this point, price is starting to even out, right? So generally from like 9 to 8, consolidation, maybe push up higher, some more consolidation. And then from 10 till market close, mid-market reversal. So we'll see what happens here, but I mean, there's not really much that's really going on at this moment. Price is kind of just going sideways. The new low has been established. I'll close this right here. I'll move this lower right here. So as you guys can see, price is still ranging. It's going down slowly, but it's still ranging. So it's literally still going sideways as we speak here. And the news still hasn't reacted to it. So, I mean, as time progresses, you'll probably see the market start to continue to move in the direction. So let's see. Rick also mentioned that there was so much good news about jobless claims pre-market, which is why it went up an hour before market. Yeah, no, exactly. A lot of people have the pre-market news, or they have stuff hinting, the direction of price, and that's why it went up in the beginning. And for this right here, I think this is just going to be, they're stacking up more sellers. I could already see it happen. You guys have seen this before. This is usually where we wait for the retail sentiment to go up. but it's Friday. So the thing is, we can't even take advantage of retail sentiment going up. What might happen is it'll continue to go up as this number increases from 60 to 61 to 62, etc. And then when they have enough sellers, that's when they can spike price back up, because that's how they make their money, right? They lure people into sells, and then once there's enough sellers, they just push price right back up. So just a matter of time, guys. I mean, just waiting for it. So if you guys do have questions, feel free to drop questions in the chat. This market is kind of whacked today. I was expecting it to be a little more volatile. Yeah, this market is trash. I was expecting it to be a little more volatile so I could at least catch 1 or 2 trades before market close. I haven't really traded much since Wednesday. Where I didn't even trade at all on Wednesday because the market's just been kind of slow. As you guys can see from the daily, I mean, the daily hasn't even pushing it at all. It's literally just been going sideways, like the daily from yesterday. So the market's almost 24 hours yesterday, and even the daily before that. So if you guys remember the daily, refresh this. So guys, looking at the daily from yesterday, right? This thing took 13 hours to hit TP. So this is the daily from, or that's from yesterday. This is from the 8th. But on the 11th, yeah, so the daily right here for the 11th, this would have hit full TP, but it took a while as well. This one hit a lot quicker, but it did still take a little bit of a while. So this is the daily from the day before, yesterday. Or no, actually, we didn't even take this one. Sorry. We didn't take this one right here, but you can see the market is kind of just going sideways, right? There really hasn't been much movement. I mean, there's a movement that day over here, but this was because there was news in the morning on the 10th. This was the Fed. This is when Powell was speaking and the Fed is going off. But today, there just hasn't been nothing. So nothing today, nothing yesterday. Technically, the daily for today would be a sell. However, I'm not going to take it because I'm looking for a buy here still. So that'd be the daily for today. This is the daily from yesterday. Not one that I would necessarily recommend. For one, it's Friday. We usually don't take a daily on Friday anyways, because you have to close the trade for the weekend. Looking at the retail sentiment here, it's now 59% short. So a lot of people have pulled out of their shorts. Looks like a lot of people are getting scared that price is going to swing back up, which makes sense. So as you guys can see, price is now starting to push up where we anticipated. Still waiting for it to close above here. If it closes above here, then yeah, I'll take it for a quick little buy using the high-low scalp. But yeah, until then, not really much for us to look at this moment. Paul said, still haven't taken a trade. Both NASDAQ and Dow are so trash right now. Yeah, no, I agree. So Paul usually looks at the NASDAQ. If he says it's trash, then, the whole market is kind of trash today. Maddie said 59 short. I think it's going to consolidate or drop a little for a while until retail sentiment is high. I agree too. That's pretty much my same analysis with the market right now too, Maddie. It's just a matter of time. Rick said maybe Poopy Pants can do a news conference for us. Yeah, call up your buddy Biden, Rick. Maybe he can do a news conference and spike price down so that we can catch it as it swings back up. Yeah, if you guys are familiar with whenever Biden speaks, usually price just goes nuts. It goes down and then it shoots back up. But this is good right here. You can see price is now starting to swing back up. This is pretty much what we were waiting for. Price is having a late reaction to the news event, which is fine. It happens. Sometimes news events will be released and people won't take trades on it until after because they're waiting for the confirmation. So just looking at this right here. Nice. So Nate over here just sent me his profits. This dude had all wins for the entire week. He just had one loss. Yeah, one loss for the whole week. Yeah, killing it, Nate. Yeah, so great work right there. I'm glad to see a lot of people here are still consistent. Even during markets like this, it's I'll just copy this over here if I can. Add that to the profits for this week. So as you can see, price right here broke above it, but didn't close. We needed to close above it for us to take that trade there. If it doesn't, then it's going to be a freaking bummer because that's exactly what we were waiting for. I was just waiting for it to close above there. It's not closing. So unfortunately, no entry right there. They just invalidated this high. This is now the new high. So unfortunately, there goes the high the buy that I was looking to take, and it just screwed up my position. So there's no entry there. This is now going to be the new high. See, this is what I was just talking about, guys. Like the market was going to push up, right? So if you guys go back and just, listen to what I said, what was going to happen, look what's happening now. A lot of people are getting stopped out. You guys remember where I put my liquidity zones? So as you can see, when price broke above there, what do you think happened at this point? If you guys can take a wild guess what happened here. Remember the people here who are short? Where do they put their stop loss? Right there. What do you think this pushed up right here? Because their stop losses got triggered, and now it's pushing to the upside. It's a stop loss hunt. Another area of liquidity right here. So as you guys can see, I mean, if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know exactly what my analysis is. It's always the same and it always works. So, a lot of people like to bash on like how we trade. They think we trade too risky. Well, the thing is, what we do works. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and you guys can keep doing what you're doing. But obviously what we do here works. So I'm going to keep doing this. And I wish it wouldn't have closed below here, because if it closed above, that would have been a perfect entry, just like I mentioned. I was waiting for it to close above here. It didn't close above there, so it invalidated my strategy here, which is fine. Me being conservative and following my strategies to see, this is what's gotten me to where I am today. It's it's about persistence and following the strategy that's supposed to be applied. No shortcuts, nothing like that. I could have taken a shortcut enter to buy here if I wanted to, but obviously I didn't. So I mean, it is what it is. Missed the trade. Does kind of suck, but whatever. I'll look for the next one. Damn, that would have been such a smooth move. Just if it closed above here, that would have been a quick push to the upside. That would have been a quick 1,000 in profit right there, or 2,000 profit if I went for 200 pips. So it's all right. Still no losses. So that's the main thing. Main key for me is not losing. Profits are just an addition to trading. I trade for fun, and then when I make profits, then the profits come in. And that's pretty much how it works for me. And that's how a lot of people should be looking at the market as well, right? You guys should be looking at the market as a game. Your main goal here is to win the game. Other than that, let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, Rev said 3-minute daily. Yeah, technically this would have been a 3-minute daily. I'm not taking it though, Rev, because it's too late. I don't know if you caught it. If you did catch it, looks like it would be pushing up. Yeah, I'm not taking it either, but it looks like it already pushed up right there. Question from Patrick is, so on the high-low strategy, only enter on the 5th or more candle, Sean? Well, for the high-low strategy, that's the only way that a high could be established, which would be the first requirement. So you're not necessarily looking to enter after the 5th or candle after that, Patrick. You're looking for the 5th candle to establish the high. So in order for this to be an entry here, you needed price not to touch this high within 4 or 5 candles. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price hasn't touched it, right? So at that point, this is now the high. Opposite of that, for example, right here, for this low, you can see price moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? When price came down right here, price touched it. It's no longer the low. This is now the low. So you're not looking for the 5th candle to enter. You're looking for the 5th candle to establish the higher low. Because if you don't have a higher low that's been established, then there's not going to be an entry available to begin with. So yeah, you're not looking for it to enter at that point. You're just looking for that to establish as the higher the low. Once that's been established, then you can go down to the next ones. So once the high has been established right here, it can be any candle after that. But yeah, the 5th candle requirement is specifically meant to identify whether a high has been established or whether a low has been established. So hopefully that makes sense to you. It all like starts to make sense when you apply it. I know kind of doesn't make sense, or it might be confusing when you're like looking at it on the screen. But when you start to apply it, you'll start to see what I mean. And you can always just go back and back test if you want to go figure that out. Because you'll see it's the same pattern. It repeats itself. Usually if it doesn't pass 4 or 5 candles, it'll just bounce right back down. And vice versa. If it does pass 4 or 5 candles, then it does establish as a high. And then it establishes it as a strong structured area where you want price to pass, and then you can take a trade from there. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else that I'm missing here. Yeah, nothing else right there. But yeah, Rav, this would technically be the 3-minute entry if you guys are looking for it. The 3-minute daily entry. This isn't one that I have been taking it. I mean, I take it every once in a while if it looks like a good trade. However, I think it's a bit of a risky trade. This isn't an efficient strategy, so keep that in mind, guys. This is a strategy that one of our members in K2, his name is Deswell, he created this. It's basically a spinoff of the daily strategy that we apply on the 10-minute. However, Deswell's been applying it on the 3-minute. What Deswell also confirmed is that he doesn't apply it on Fridays because it's too risky, which I agree with. So if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not in the position, so it doesn't really affect me too much. But yeah, no, good identification on that trade right there, Rav. And that's key, guys. You know, it's key that you guys are able to identify these trades, because even if I didn't see it here, we're all helping each other out, right? So Rav saw a trade here. He mentioned, you know, hey, Sean, there's a 3-minute daily entry, because everyone's looking at different time frames. I can't look at all 4 time frames at once. But, you know, for the select few here who are looking at specific trades, they can give me a hint whenever they see something come up. So let's go back to the fundamentals real quick, refresh this. Fundamentals are currently 104 points in the green, so I'm looking for a buy here. Probably not this one because it's at the Asia high. What I might do here, Rav, is if price closes above the Asia high right here, then maybe I'll hop in for a late entry, or maybe I'll start looking for a buy here on the 1-minute. The main thing that I would be looking for here personally is if price, because let's see, the highs here has been established because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles have passed. If price closes above this right here. So this is what we're looking for, guys. We're looking for price to break and close above this high right here. If price breaks and closes above this high, then you can take this for a long position. But I mean, I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for the high low, really. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's just, you know, it's pretty much just waiting. Yeah, no, Rav is waiting for it too. So Maddie's waiting for it, and Rav is also waiting for it, and I'm waiting for it. So we'll see what happens here, but you just got to make sure to you got to make sure to wait. Yeah, Paul too. Paul said we all waiting. Yeah, everyone's waiting for it. I mean, this is just, you know, the market isn't really moving directional at all. It's kind of just, as you guys can see, remember earlier we had the big range right here. The range just got bigger again. So as you can see, price is literally not moving directional at all. It's just the range is getting bigger and it's just going sideways still. So going back over here, this is the chart for the day. Pretty much here it's the same thing. It hasn't really done anything. It's kind of just going sideways. It's kind of interesting how it's like rejecting off this arrow that I drew earlier, but not much for us to look at. You're going to refresh this. Currently up 100 points. Looking at the stock index. Stock index is majority green as well. 3M is up about 6 points almost. Boeing is up about 3 points. Microsoft up 2.5. Johnson & Johnson up 2.4. Visa up 2.5. Nike up 2.2. Home Depot up 1.7. Everything here is not that strong for the Reds. For the Reds right here, the big ones are Goldman Sachs. They're down about 2 points, and JP Morgan down 1 point. Walt Disney also down 1 point. But other than that, not really much for us to look at. Looks like Johnson & Johnson. I don't know when this was released. Yes, the J&J plans to split into 2 companies, separating consumer products and pharmaceutical business. That's from today, so 42 minutes ago. So Johnson & Johnson, if they plan to split, that's going to affect the market. Obviously, you can see They're in the stock index right here. Johnson & Johnson is actually really bullish right now. It says Elon Musk taunts Tesla rival Rivian after its blockbuster market debut. Yeah, typical for Elon Musk. Nice. All right, back to the charts. So you can see price never came above it, so there's no entry available yet. We're still waiting for that to happen, but until then, price is pretty much just going it's going sideways. Yeah, I just saw your messages, Maddie. Looks like there was a couple variation entries. Going back over here, let's see. Patricia locked in some profit. She said done for the day, crazy market. So she locked in a total of 1,560 for the day. Nice work, Patricia. Yeah, I mean, the market right now is just, I mean, it's not really, yeah, it kind of sucks. Kip said, man, I'll take my weekly profits and quit. See y'all next week. So yeah, Kip, we'll see you next week. You know, in this case right here, the market really isn't doing much. So unless you guys would want to take a risky trade, I mean, I'd prefer to just wait it out. So let's see. The other question right here is from Patrick. Patrick said, so would the 10-12 Eastern candle be a new low? According to the 4 or 5 candle rule. So I'm trying to figure out which one you're talking about, Patrick. I don't see a low here at I don't see a low that's been established right here, Patrick. Which one are you looking at? Because I think you're referring to this candle right here. Yeah, 712. This one would be considered low because price didn't really establish low. Price came down and it just consolidated. In order for a high low to be established, price needs to actually swing. So as you can see right here, price needs to swing, right? So it swings down and then it swings up. It swings down and then it swings up. And then it swings down and it swings up. Right here, it didn't really swing down at all. It kind of just swung up and then it went sideways. So it swung up and then, so if you look at the move right here, I know it's subjective, right? It's very subjective when you're looking at it. But if you look at this right here, the low hasn't really been established yet. Price came up, it hit a high, and then it's still establishing the low right here as it goes down. And that's why the indicator didn't identify that as a low, right? You can see right here, even the indicator identified that this is the high, and this wasn't even established as a low right there. It's still pushing down. This would be the low right here. So I wouldn't consider that a low. You know, if you're having trouble identifying the highs and lows on the 1 minute, I would recommend go on the higher time frame and then look at that for practice. So like go like on the 10 minute or something, right? Because if you go on the 10 minute, it's a lot easier to identify these swing highs and swing lows, right? Because price swings high. Like this right here, you might consider this a low, right? Because price swung high, and you might think this is low because you might think, oh, price came down and then it came back up. But realistically, the low is like way down here. And you can see this using the pivots, you know, the built-in indicator from TradingView to identify where price actually swings high and swings low. And this is something that you train your eye to see over time. But for me personally, I wouldn't identify that as a low right there. And the indicator also agrees with me with that, right? It's still pushing down right here as well. So I wouldn't consider that a low right there. But you can. I mean, if you think it's a low, then, you know, identifying highs and lows are subjective. It's whatever you see. If there's no right or wrong way to identify it. But for me personally, I don't see it there. Also, the indicator also says that that it's not a low as well. And the indicator is really usually not wrong, you know, because the indicator it's robotic. It's like it identifies what it's supposed to look for. Yeah, Patrick said indicator definitely helps to filter out what I see. LOL. Yeah, no, because I can see what you see though there, Patrick. So like for example, if price was like right here, like for example, if I was like right here, then maybe I could see that, right? Maybe. But I personally, because I've been looking at high lows like every single day, so it's like I know exactly what I'm looking for here. This doesn't look like a strong enough low for it to be established as a low. Because right here we have a low, the high, and I can see you identifying this as low because you see it come right here, right? This is kind of what you see. You see it go high, you see it go low, and then you think it's going to come right back up. However, in order for it to be a low, I need there to be like an actual push in that direction. So like, for example, here, I would see this as a high low, like see this right here. You can see it's a high and then it comes down here. This would be a low and then this would be a high because I see an actual push. But you get what I'm saying, right, Patrick? It's if you see it as a low, that's completely fine. You know, I'm not going to tell you it's not a low. Just in my perspective, I don't see it as a low. So yeah, if that was the case and you thought that was a low right there, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, definitely you would establish that as a low right there. Other than that, let's see. Yeah, no problem, Patrick. Rick said, let's see, let me scroll up real quick. Paul said, F this, I give up. So Paul is actually out of the market too. So it looks like a lot of you guys are just, calling it a day because the market isn't really pushing in any direction. The thing is market, you can see the range, right? We have this range right here, the high and the low. Price is literally going from the high to the low, and it's just going sideways. So, I mean, I know the range is big and you guys want to catch trades in those directions, but I don't think it's a safe way to trade if you're trying to go against the fundamentals over here because the fundamentals are still pretty bullish. It's not that strong. In order for it to be strong, it needs to be above 100 points. It needs to stay above there. However, right now it's still at 63 points in the green. Refreshing the retail sentiment. It's 59% short right now. So I would still be looking for buys at this moment, even though price is going down. Let's see. Rick said, I know the days when I'm on and when I'm not looking at this indicator and jump into 1 minute and it hits. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Sometimes your intuition plays its part. And it does work sometimes. It works sometimes, it works, and it doesn't work a lot of times because I've done that before too, where I just go with my gut and then it hits, but then I usually end up regretting the move even though I hit CP. Because going back and look, so here's the thing, guys. If you guys ever lose a trade or you don't realize, like if you don't understand why you won the trade, go back and reanalyze it. See if there's really why you should trade or why you shouldn't have, and when to make moves and when to not make moves. Like for me, for example, there's so many confluences for a buy here. Retail sentiment is short, fundamentals are bullish. They're not that strong, but it's still bullish. So with this being bullish, retail sentiment short, I'm looking for a buy at this moment, right? Looking at the news over here, you guys got to keep in mind that we have the Fed speaking at 9 o'clock. So we got the Fed speaking here at 9 o'clock. That's key. We had the news earlier. It was positive. Other than that, there just isn't really much to tie into it. So if you guys have questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat. It's probably the best time to ask questions. I know we haven't had a mentoring session in a while. So this is technically a mentoring session for you guys. If you guys do have questions, I'm here to answer questions for you. Otherwise, we're just going to be waiting for any possible entries here. I don't see anything coming up anytime soon. I know there's probably going to be a possible sell here if price breaks and closes below here, but I'm not going to be taking it because I'm looking for buys. So see what happens. And you can see right here, price came back and then retested this low. So when it tested this low right here, this is no longer the low because it's already been touched. So Patrick, going back to what we were talking about the lows being established. So this low here was already established, but looking at the requirements here, if you go down the list, fifth requirement is confirmed price has not touched previous swing before breaking close. It touched it right there, so this is no longer the low. Now this is the new low. And you just gotta wait for it to establish. I know this is kind of tedious looking for these entries, but these entries have very high accuracy. So, it's gonna take a while for it to confirm an entry, but when it does confirm, it's like usually a home run hit. Because I don't think I've ever lost a high-low scalp. I've been testing this, forward testing it for like 4 or 5 months now, and it's been amazing, guys. Like literally the days where I have the most wins are just using this strategy. So like basically all the trades that I've been taking, like during Asia session. So like looking at my trades over here, right? Like all these wins here during Asia session is from the strategy. I know it's tedious. Like I mentioned, you have to wait for these entries here, but when they come, they're usually going to hit. Like literally all of my wins here are from the high-low scalp. Pretty much everything I apply out of the session, out of New York session is the high-low scalp, and they're all wins. So that's why I'm just waiting for it. So let's see. Patrick said it now. We would wait 4 to 5 candles to confirm it's a true low. Exactly, Patrick. 100%. You're catching on. It's making sense to you now, right? So you can see we try to get that low, but price broke below. So now the new low is down here, and we just reset the process. So pretty much the process just gets reset when a new high or a new low gets established, and you just go down the checklist. Rick said, I chased the sell, made 1,100. Nice work, Rick. See, like in some instances like that, sometimes you just have to go with your gut. For me, I don't like going with my gut. I go with my brain. So sometimes when you go with your gut, it could play out, and I'm glad it played out for you, Rick. It nice. Yeah, so he placed a stop at the previous candle high. Yeah, not smart. Yes, that's a good move there. So there's a lot of ways to trade. There's a lot of ways for people to get lucky or to go with your gut and just go with your intuition. But for me, I don't like that feeling, right? I don't like the feeling where were not you guys, but for me personally, I don't like the feeling entering without having a strategy, and then it goes the complete opposite, right? And then your heart just drops and your stomach starts to turn, and you're like, damn, I should have never entered that trade. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have gone through that before, where you guys enter a trade, but you had no strategy. You literally just entered it, and then trade just goes complete opposite, and then you don't know what to do because you don't have a strategy, right? You never like really thought about worst case scenario. What do I do if the trade doesn't go in my direction? So let's see. Jennifer has a question over here. Oh, nice. Got you, Rick. Yeah, no, I mean, smart move on your end, though. Yeah, and a 500 loss is cool. Like, if you can do that and manage your risk, like, if you can take a risky trade and manage your risk properly, that's completely fine. That's great. The thing that I'm referring to is, like, if you enter a trade and then not have any idea where to put your stop loss, then that's like a recipe for a disaster. Because I've seen a lot of people do that before. Jennifer's asking, is this the same as CNBC fundamentals for your USD? So no, Jennifer. The difference with Forex pairs are that there's two currencies paired against each other. So with the Dow, we're only looking at one asset. So that's why we can look at the positive and negatives, because it's just one asset, right? For Forex pairs, these are different because Forex is a ranging asset. This asset goes up and down. It's not really directional. It 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 pretty much doesn't, like, for this, we're just looking at one asset. So for example, if you're looking at Euro USD, what you would look at is the Euro index and the dollar index. So you can see how strong one or the other is. Like if you're just trading that specifically. For Forex, it's different because it's two different assets that are being paired against each other. So this doesn't work the same way as we do for US 30, Jennifer. What you would do is you would just pull up the Euro. Exactly, yeah, kind of like COD data. Yeah, it's different. It's not the same. Like if you're looking at one specific asset, like for example, we'll look at the Dow right here, right? If we're just looking at gold, so like people like to trade XAU USD, right? That's also pairing two different assets. Technically, you would be looking at XAU, which would just be gold by itself, and then you'd be looking at I forgot what the dollar, DXY, which is the dollar index. So that's how you would measure how strong each one is. But it doesn't work the same way with regard to that. It's not that easy. Like Forex is like, I mean, it could be easy, but like for that, it's such a long-term ranging asset that if you wanted to trade that, you would have to use different factors. Like for me, if you looked at my watch list here, I don't use it anymore, but I used to have, oh, I still have it here. So I have AXY, CXY, SXY, EXY. I would have two charts up right next to each other, and I would see if one's going up and one's going down, then it's obvious that I would trade in that direction. But I don't really do that anymore because I don't trade Forex as much. I just stick with US 30. So there's different ways to do it. There's different ways to do it, but I mean, Forex is it's a whole different beast, right? It's totally different. Like that's why I stopped trading Forex, is because it's just too much work, honestly. Like what I do is like I used to be so for Forex. Like literally, if you look at my watch list here, I used to trade all these assets. And the problem with that is that each asset moves differently. So like even if you were to use that data, Jennifer, you'd have to actually understand how each asset moves, because like the Aussie pairs move way different from like the odd USD pair. So like if you're trying to trade odd NZD, this moves completely different compared to odd USD. And then if you want to trade anything like basically all of the Aussie NZD crosses, they move really fast compared to like odd CAD, right? So like if you do want to trade Forex, you can trade all of them because I've traded all of them in the past, but your accuracy is not going to be like on point. What I'd recommend is just to find one that you like. Like if you want to just trade JPY pairs, focus on JPY, odd JPY, Euro JPY, GJ, NJ, UJ, stuff like that. Or if you want to trade the USD pairs, major pairs, trade odd USD, Euro USD, GU, US, UJ, NU, stuff like that. Because this is like something that I learned like over time. It was like I would win with like certain pairs, like odd JPY. Pretty much for the JPY pairs and USD pairs, I would like almost win, like never lose. When I started trading the Aussie and NZD crosses, I would like lose all my profit. Well, not lose all my profit, but I'd lose a trade because they move completely different. And I tried to translate my moves from from the JPY pairs and USD over to NZD. So one thing that you also want to keep in mind is that the JPY pairs and CHF pairs are safe haven currencies. So these are usually the ones that move a little bit smoother as well. Yeah, I know I did miss it, Rick. I just saw Rick's message there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I wouldn't have taken this right here, Rick, because it invalidated this low right here. So I'm still looking at the charts even though I'm answering these questions, but yeah, I wouldn't have taken that right there because of the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fourth candle right here, right? For this one. So I would have skipped that one. So looking at this right here, right? So this was low right here established, and I still wouldn't have taken this because this right here would have touched it. So this right here touched it, it invalidated this low. This would have been the new low right here. After this, 1, 2, 3, 4. This was the fourth candle right here, so I wouldn't have taken that either. Yeah, it didn't close. Like if it touches it right here, so like for example, this one right here, if this one right here touched it, it would invalidate it by the fifth requirement right here. So confirm price hasn't touched the previous swing. This would have been the swing, it touched it, so it's invalid. Same with this one over here. So this was the low that we were looking at. This would have been established as low because we had 5 candles, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good, 5 candles. Second, you want to confirm price breaking close past previous swing. Right here, price came down, it touched it, but it didn't close below it. So that would have been invalidated for requirement 2 and requirement 5. Unfortunately, that would have been a great trade though if it closed below. If it pushed just a little bit lower, like right there, we could have taken that sell and then we would have made a really nice profit off that. But Rick said, so I was using the force. Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah, this market kind of sucks, guys, because like you'll see that this happens a lot, like where price gets really close to it and it doesn't close below, and you might be tempted to take the trade. So if you're being risky and you want to take the trade, you could technically, and you would have made some profit. However, if price went up, you would have lost it. So for me, I'm conservative. I'm only taking trades that I'm like absolutely certain about. And it's just, I'm just not trying to take any risk on a Friday, especially. So hopefully that helps with the explanation earlier, Jennifer. But yeah, I mean, Forex is like, it used to be my main thing, but now that I found US 30, this is all that I really need. I can make so much profit just trading this and mastering this every single day. And that's what I recommend. If you guys want to trade something specific, like say if you want to trade Forex, just focus on certain pairs that move the same way so that you guys can keep using the same strategies all across the board. Like for example, if you want to trade USD pairs, just stick to USD pairs. If you want to stick to JPY pairs, stick to JPY pairs. If you want to trade gold, stick with gold, right? There's infinite ways to make profit in the market. It's just actually like really understanding how the market moves and mastering it. Just kind of like exactly how I do here with with US 30. So let me scroll up a little bit. David said, how do you avoid the last high-low setup that doesn't fully form? Just curious for the folks with no lost screenshots, what do you look for? Hey, David, so which one are you referring to over here? The main way that I avoid high-low setups is if the requirements aren't all met. So first things first, you got to make sure that all of the requirements are met. The second thing that I look at is I look at the fundamentals here. If the fundamentals are bullish, then I'm looking for buys. If the fundamentals are bearish, I'm looking for sells. So those are like the main things that I look at. For one, you got to make sure that all the requirements are met. If the requirements aren't met, all of them, and all of them have to be met, not just like some of them, but all of them. If they're not all met, then there's no entry available. And then if there is an entry available, what I also look for is the fundamentals. I make sure that I'm trading in the direction of fundamentals so that I don't get caught in a fake out or reversal. So yeah, hopefully that helps with your question, David. If you could point out which one you're looking at or which one you're referring to, I can like explain why we wouldn't have taken it. Because I haven't seen any high-low setups this entire morning, so I'm not sure which one are you talking about. Because we've been looking for them, but we just haven't had anything that actually established, right? There's always been a point where it got really close to it being a high-low entry. However, one of the requirements gets validated, price gets touched, or the swing isn't established, or I mean, there's a lot of different things that come into play. But I think the main thing here is just going to be the requirements here that they've been met, if that they've been met, plus that you're trading the direction of the fundamentals here. So currently right now it's 25 points in the green, but it's not very strong. Either way, I'm still looking for a buy here, or I can be looking for a sell actually, because the fundamentals aren't very one-sided at this point. My dogs came to see me. These dudes are ready to go for their walk. So guys, if you guys have any questions, drop your questions in the chat. I'll answer some more questions. Otherwise, I'm gonna get offline. I take my dogs for a walk, and then I'm probably gonna wrap it up for the week because it is Friday and it is it's just a slow day. Oh, gotcha. So David said, asking in general, usually the setups at the top or the bottom of the trend. Yeah. So the basically the main thing that I'm looking for here, guys, like this strategy here is basically just waiting for price to break structure and continue in that direction, right? That's the main thing that we're doing here. This is a very simple concept, but we're like basically it's a simple concept on steroids, right? Because like you've seen people that trade where they just trade support and resistance, right? This is basically trading like support and resistance, except we have other requirements. So we're trading support and resistance, and then but we're trading like support and resistance that are actually established. Because the thing is, like, you'll see a lot of people just draw support and resistance, and there's like always new support and resistance, right? For us, we're waiting. We added this requirement here, 4 or 5 candles. So with that said, it establishes it as a strong support or a strong resistance. At that point, we use momentum to make sure that we trade in that proper direction. We're not really using the trend here, but we're using momentum. So we're looking for break and pushes in price. So like say, for example, here, we have the high established here, right? And on top of that, you can qualify this as a resistance, right? Because price has failed to break past it. So like, for example, here, price breaks past it. What we're looking for is we're looking for price to confirm that it's going to continue pushing up, right? That's basically the confirmation we're looking for. We're confirming that it's pushing up. And then what we're doing is we're just piggybacking that ride. What we're doing is we have a TP set up right here, and it's really small. I mean, obviously it can be wider, but 100 pips is all you really need. You're just waiting for that small little burst in price. So price breaks above it, you get the burst in price, you take your profit for 1,000 there and you pull out and you just wait for the next one. So this is a really safe way to trade. A lot of people think it's risky, but they just don't understand the concept, right? The concept behind it is that we're trying to like hit and go. That's really what we're doing. We're waiting for price to make its move. We're just piggybacking that little momentum push, and then we're out of the market. It's a quick cash grab, right? Like you basically are looking for the low hanging fruit. It's like, you see a tree here with all of this fruit here, AKA money bags, and then you're just waiting to catch that money bag, right? You see it dropping, you catch the money bag and you pull out. And I know this doesn't like, if you come from a background where you're looking for the huge moves, like you're trying to catch the big moves, then this is probably not going to make sense to you, right? So if you've learned how to trade one way, you probably don't like the way that we trade here. And the reason for that is because you just don't understand what we're doing. obviously what we've been doing here has been working, and I continue to do it. I've been doing this for years, and it works. So the main key with trading, guys, is that you guys can trade whatever strategy you want, however you want, whenever you want. The main thing is that it works. If it works, then continue to do it. If it doesn't work, then obviously you need to change. Everyone has different trading styles. This is my trading style, and it works perfectly fine. And that's why I continue to apply it. iPhone said SR with a break and retest. Not necessarily a break and retest, because we're not waiting for the retest. We're just waiting for it to continue pushing. So it's mostly SR, break, and continue. So it's a trend continuation strategy, basically, or a momentum continuation strategy, not necessarily a break and retest, because we don't want it to retest. If we wanted it to retest, we wouldn't enter right away. We would wait for it to pull back and then enter it, right? But we're not doing that. When price breaks and closes past it, we enter right away. Other than that, let's see. Coach CJ is asking, still see the swing back up? Possibly. I think it, yeah. Well, let's see. Okay, so looking at this right here, guys. So you guys can see the markup from earlier, right? You can see price came up, retested right here, and then it came down. So what might happen at this point is price obviously came up, retested it, it came down. We're probably gonna see some consolidation from like 8 to 9, 9 to 8, and then we'll see the mid-market reversal at some point. So yeah, I do see it swinging back up, CJ, eventually, but you got to keep in mind that it is Friday, so you might not even see that happen today. Possibly might happen, but maybe not. One thing that I do see happening, causing it to push up, is the fact that we have Fed member Williams speaking at 9. So if you guys forgot, we have news coming up at 9 o'clock. Fed speaking. Usually the Fed says good things about the market, good things about the economy. So when they speak at 9, they're probably going to push price up. So like looking at the markup right here, you can see exactly what I already marked up, right? You're going to see some consolidation, and then swing back to the upside. But it's just going to take some time before it does that. So yeah, my guess is, yeah, it'll probably come up, but it's just going to be a matter of time before it does. Another question from David. David said, thanks, Sean. One more. Do you use the high-low strategy on the 3-minute or 10-minute? I personally don't, David. What I would recommend is if you want to do it, back test it first. I haven't back tested it on those time frames. I'm focused on the 1 minute because whenever I create a strategy for you guys, I drill it, right? I keep applying it every single time I see it, because I want to make sure that the strategy is 100% before I release it to you guys. This strategy is still unfinished and in progress because we're still trying to figure out what the TP stop loss is. So I personally haven't applied it myself on the 3-minute or 10-minute. So if you want to go and do that, you can. One key thing that you need to figure out is going to be the first requirement, because this 4 or 5 candle number, I figured this out by testing it for months, right? And not even back testing it. This is forward testing it. So every live session, I'm applying the strategy, even though it's unfinished, because I'm testing it to make sure that it works perfectly fine. This number is probably going to be different because, you know, the highs and the lows are going to be like on the 10-minute, you're not going to wait 50 minutes for it to be established as a high, right? You're going to probably wait a little sooner. So you might have to change it a little bit. But yeah, I personally haven't done it. So you can go and test it if you want. But eventually at some point, maybe I'll start testing it once we're like completely done with this 1 minute here. One other question from Maine is asking, can we get another good example of the high-low strategy passing and hitting TP? Sure. Let's see if I could find one over here. Oh, that's perfect. There's one like literally right here. All right, man. So looking at this right here. All right, so here's the strategy, right? First requirement, confirm the previous swing high, confirming that 4 or 5 candles have passed to establish the high, right? So right here, you see this high? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 candles have passed, haven't touched it. This is the high. Second requirement, confirm a break and close past the previous swing. This is the swing high right here. You can see this candle right here broke past it and it closed. Third requirement, confirm you're trading in the direction of momentum. Right here, we have a buy signal, right? So momentum is going up. We're trading in the proper direction. Fourth, you want to confirm that price is not ranging or consolidating. As you can see right here, price was consolidating and ranging. However, this candle right here broke out of the range. So it's no longer ranging, right? So fourth requirement has been passed. Fifth requirement, confirm price has not touched the previous swing before break and close. Looking at these candles right here, has any of these candles touched the swing? No, it hasn't. So all requirements are met. You enter on the open of this falling candle right here. Enter a long position. You go for 100 pips. You let it run. There you go, full TP. So it's as easy as that. You guys just have to be patient and wait for these entries. But as you can see right there, really, really nice move to full TP. Our stop loss wasn't even all the way that far back. So like going back to what I was mentioning before, guys, I know we have a white stop loss, but the reason for that is because it's just a safety net. Every time we enter these trades, I don't expect to lose. I don't like losing trades. I don't take losing trades. So for me, we have this here as a safety net because I don't expect to lose. Even if you had a tighter stop loss right here, you know, you're going for 100 pips, 100, 1-to-1, you'd be perfectly fine. However, for me, sometimes you get market manipulation, right? Price will spike down and then it'll come right back up. So I'm not going into this trade looking to lose. That's why I have a wide stop loss. I'm going into this trade to win. However, pretty much every trade that I take, you know, I go into this position optimistic and confident that it's going to win. So that's why I don't care how wide my stop loss is, as long as it's within my risk parameters where I'm not risking too much, then it's completely fine. But you can see here, even if your stop loss was tight or wide, you still wouldn't have hit your stop loss regardless. It's just that safety factor right there. So that's pretty much the entry right there, Main. Does that make sense to you? Because it's pretty simple. I mean, you're just looking to make sure that all the requirements are met. Once requirements are met, you can enter the trade. And the trend doesn't matter. So like when you're applying the strategy, you don't have to use the trend meter or anything like that. I would much prefer using the fundamentals, you know, to confirm that rather than using the trend meter here, because you're going for these quick break and pushes. You're not necessarily looking for it to go forever. So the trend doesn't really matter. You're just going in for a quick little push, make your profit, and pull out of the market. So yeah, I think that's it for now. Unless you guys have any other questions, I think that's about it. So let's go back to the current chart. Here is the current chart right here. Nothing in the market currently. So this right here was the high. However, this candle right here touched it, so it invalidated it. There's no longer the high. This right here is trying to push up as a high. Still hasn't established yet. This right here is establishing it as a low. Hasn't finished yet, but it'd be established as a low. So other than that, yeah. So David said, okay, if I do it, I'll report back. Thanks again. Yeah, no, definitely, David. I'm glad I could help you with that. And you know, my goal here is to make sure that all you guys are consistent with your trades, right? You guys have seen a ton of people in the group here pretty much kill it every single day, right? Albert here in profit 577. Great work, Albert. And then Rick over here as well in profit 2,353. Great work, Rick. So as you guys can see here, a lot of people locked in profit. I didn't even take any trades. So my count is at 0 right now, which is completely fine. But my profits for the week are very high. So that's why I'm not really complaining that I didn't take any trades today, because I'm doing pretty solid. And this is a clear example of the consistency, right? So Brian here is a normal member of K2. Brian joined K2 in May, and he's up 1,219 for the day, right? If you look at his equity curve over here, look at his consistency, straight up to the top. Look at his profits for the week, right? From November 1st to November 12th, he's had green days every single day. He's averaging about 2,000 to 6,000 a day. And he's doing this every single day, guys. Like this could be you if you guys keep the consistency up, right? The main key here is consistency. So this is the level that you guys want to get at. This is kind of similar to how I trade, right? I rarely lose. Same with Brian over here. He's focused on winning, not focused on losing. And he does pretty well. So definitely great work right there, Brian. Big congrats to you. Looking over here, Isaac locked in a total of 465 right here. Nice work, Isaac. Lisa over here as well, locked in a total of 1,296. Great work, Lisa. So great work amongst everyone here. If you guys have profits to send over, just drop them in the group, and then I will add them to the profits for the week or for the day. So if you guys do have questions, you know, feel free to reach out. Let me see if there's anything else here before I check real quick. So this right here would technically be an entry if it closes below. We need it to close below. However, I don't think it's one that I would take because the fundamentals are still green. Yeah, so I'll follow it. I'll mark it up if it closes, but it's not one that I would take. And you need that sell signal to close as well. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be the 5th candle right here. This would be a risky trade because this isn't even, I mean, it's the 5th candle. It's established as a low, but it's still the 5th candle right there. So I'll mark it up for you guys. I'm not taking it. So I'm considering this a risky trade. If anyone wants to take it, take it at your own risk, but it's not one that I would recommend taking. The reason for that is because it's going against the fundamentals over here. As you guys can see, fundamentals are still green. So I'm not looking to take any trades for a sell. But if you guys do want to take this, I'll mark it up and I'll set an alert here to remind you guys if and when it does hit. So this is going to be this is gonna be a high-low scalp off the 1 minute right there, but it's not one that I would take. So, another reminder to you guys, I'm not in this position. I don't recommend anyone take it, but for the few people that want to take risky trades, I've marked it up for you so that if it does hit, I'll give you guys a little update. Other than that, let's see. So Delman said, was the last candle on the 1 minute a good entry for high-low scalp? Yeah, so I think that's one you're talking about right now, right? Delman's, I think you're talking about the specific candle right here. So technically, just like I mentioned, it's a risky trade. It's a risky one, but it is a valid entry using the high-low scalp. Because the thing is, we don't use the trend and we don't use anything else. But for me, I like to have extra confluences to make sure that I'm trading in the proper direction. So we'll see if it we'll see if it hits. If it hits, great. But if it doesn't, you guys understood the risk with this trade because I'm not in the trade myself. Nice. So Delmas took it and he already closed out. So Delmas took it for 50 pips, which is great, right? If it's a risky trade like this, maybe you want to pull out a little earlier. So yeah, no, definitely great work right there, Delmas. And you caught it. That was exactly what you were referring to, I'm assuming. That same sell right there. Donnie's question is, hey, Sean, how come you don't draw zones on the 1 minute and 3 minute? Because I don't need them. So here, another thing that I need to remind you guys is that you don't have to use everything on every chart, right? The problem with a lot of people is they try to do way too much. I like my charts clean. So if you like your charts messy, I mean, that's great. You guys can use the zones on there and it'll be helpful for you. But the problem with that, Donnie, is that if you have too many things on your chart, so for example, if I have all of these zones on the chart, this is going to give you too much analysis, right? Sometimes too much analysis is not a good thing because you're going to skip trades that could be good trades, but you just have too many things to look at. So I don't need them on the 1 minute, so I don't use them. None of the strategies here require that I need the zones. There's nothing here where it says, oh, look for a rejection off the zone or something like that. So I don't necessarily need them myself. However, if you want to use them, you can. The problem with having too many things on the chart is that you get distracted because you're looking at too many things. Also, a lot of people get, what people call analysis paralysis, right? You guys have too much analysis and there's too many things that you're focused on that you end up not even taking a trade if you see something come up. So for me, the simple answer to your question why I don't have zones on the 1 minute and 3 minute is because I just don't need them. We already have other points of rejection, like the high lows. So that's pretty much what I use as my zones technically. But I mean, realistically, they're not really required for what I'm applying here. For example, if you turn this on here, so you got a zone up here and it's at that high, right? You got a zone right here and you already got a high right here already. So, and again, right here, if you have a high established right here, you got a zone, but you got the high right there. So it's not really necessary using, double confluences. For example, here we have the sessions high low. You also have the high lows, the swing high lows. So the thing is, it's kind of overkill if you have so many different indicators telling you the same thing, right? But I mean, if it works for you, Donnie, then, you can use it. It doesn't work for me, so that's why I don't use it. And it's just, here, I'll show you, for example, if I had this up right here, and let me just draw my zones real quick. It just makes the chart super messy and it makes it hard for me to focus on what's important. So looking at this right here, But if it works for you, use it. No, completely fine. Like the only thing that I just don't want you to do is start doing this and then you start missing out on good trades because you're too focused on where these zones are. So I'll draw the zones right there. And then if I turn this off, like kind of get what I'm saying right here. Donnie, like the chart gets so messy where it's like, what am I even looking at this point? You could probably, if you wanted to do that, you could just turn off the high lows and you can turn off the sessions and then it cleans it up, right? But if you have everything all up together at the same time, like, you know, imagine having all these indicators up at once. You'd be so confused as to what to look at. So that's why I don't use it. I prefer to just have it the way I already currently have it. So other than that, guys, I think that's it for now. Let me see if there's anything else here. Lisa said our fundamentals that strong in the green. I only see 12 stocks in the green right now. Fundamentals are currently, it was like 60. Let me refresh this real quick. It was currently 55 points in the green. So it's not that strong, but it is still bullish. So that's why I wouldn't take a sell because it's still like halfway in the green, right? We're looking for it to be 100 points in the green, but it is 55 points in the green. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily be looking for any sells at this moment. Also looking over here at the Dow 30 index. So what I'd be looking for here, Lisa, isn't necessarily the number of stocks. I'd be looking at the numbers here because, for example, here, if Microsoft is up 3 points, then this pretty much covers 3 red stocks right here, right? Because this is down 3 points, this is up 3 points. This would just cover these 3 stocks. So if you're going by numbers, I would go by the actual strength of it, like the change in numbers versus the number of stocks here. Because I know there's less green stocks, but these stocks are a lot stronger. And with them being that much stronger, they outweigh these red stocks down here. And Donnie said, I'd rather have it clean. I use pivots as SR anyways. Yeah, exactly, Donnie. So like if you want to use the pivots as your support resistance or rejection points, then that's completely fine. That's kind of what I use as well because it's dynamic and it moves with price. So that's what I prefer to use. So, all right, guys, it's 8 o'clock. I'm way past my time here for my live session. So I think that's it for this session. If you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to email me or message me on Telegram. I'll try to get to everyone's messages. I do have a lot of questions here still pending on email and Telegram. So if you do send me a message today and you don't get a response from me by tomorrow, I'll try to get to you guys by this weekend. I just have a lot of work to do this weekend with regards to going through my emails and going through my messages here on Telegram. But once I do get through all of them, I will be able to respond back to you guys. So I think that's it for this week, guys. If you guys have any questions, don't feel free to reach out. Otherwise, if you guys don't need a trade, reminder, we have the Fed speaking at 9 o'clock, and I do expect price to be bullish for the rest of the day. So I wouldn't take any sells. If you guys are looking to take any sells, I would be looking for buys, and I would just continue to follow the direction of price. So other than that, guys, have a great weekend. Be safe, and then I will see you guys back here on Monday when market